everybody. Good evening. This is Mike Tedesco of Wrestleview.com.
And Victoria Tedesco.
Oh, yes. It is episode number 75 of the Post-Raw show.
What a thrilling Raw it was, indeed, for 75th Post-Raw show.
I hope that there's people at the 100th show, really. Like, it's like...
please don't say that.
We're 25 weeks away from it, right?
Please don't. I know, but please don't say that. Please don't make it longer than this. What it is already at this point.
I know, and it feels. These shows feel long already. Man, so this is our second week, our second Raw at the Performance Center, in front of no crowd. They did 2 SmackDowns already. I thought, I guess, of the 2 shows so far, they finally made some better choices with shooting this thing.
Yeah. I think they had no choice, I think last week was kind of like the guinea pig, they had to really test to see how they were going to they were doing it. And then I think as more information that we got this week regarding the virus and whatnot, I think this is where they kind of had a little bit more time to be creative and try to figure things out a little bit to make it a little bit more entertaining, I guess. It's just the whole thing is just very sad because I'm going to kind of retract what I was saying last week. I'm like, they could do something. There's got to be something they can do. They could postpone. They can do this and they can do that. And it's like with the country not really knowing when this is going to really be over, it's like you can't postpone WrestleMania any further than.
I know. Well, we'll talk about that momentarily. Let's say hello to everybody in the chat room tonight. It's a little light on the chat room, probably because this show was basically like, again.
We should just change it to like post Raw. Like we should change like post Raw to like.
I'm almost wondering if we should just do like a Raw watch along.
Yeah, I think we should too.
But every time they put on one of those classic matches, we just start watching The Office instead.
I know. It's like, do we really want to commit to that?
I know. Well, let's say hello to our dear friends anyway. Nafis Sadat, our dear buddy in the chat room tonight. Now, I hope, Nafis, you are feeling a little better. Nafis, I was talking to him last week. He's right in the epicenter of like the whole entire coronavirus outbreak in America, being very close to Seattle, Washington. So Nafis, we've been thinking about you all week. We've been rooting for you, hoping you're doing well, sir. We got Quentin Walters in the chat room tonight. Hi, Iron Mike and Vivacious Victoria.
Hi, Quentin.
Our buddy, Quentin.
Quentin is always our buddy.
Post-Raw, #1 fan. That's Funaki for you. Roy Nemmer's in the chat room tonight.
Roy.
Big Roy.
Hey, Roy.
Good. Bobby Strauss in the room tonight.
Hi, Bobby.
Good evening, Tedesco Clan, checking in as Michigan shelter-in-place begins. Oh, gosh, is that beginning for you? We've been there since
started
Saturday.
What, Saturday?
Saturday at 9 p.m.
Yeah.
So, it's, you know what's weird about, like, these shelter-in-places? It's like, would we ever have gone out on a Monday or Tuesday night?
No, not really.
No. But just knowing that we can't
is
mind-numbing.
Exactly. That's the whole thing.
Daniel Shell's in the chat room.
Hi, Daniel.
The Ohio lockdown begins. Is that beginning today too?
Did that happen yesterday? I feel like it happened yesterday.
I feel like it either happened yesterday or today.
Or just started. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Grash is in the chat room. Is this a we or no we zone? No, you can say we. We just that's Doug's gimmick. We don't steal gimmicks here.
Yeah, but you could feel free.
I mean, even though Doug does review Raw.
Of course, yeah.
Let's see who else we got. Mashun Walls. Did we say hello to Mashun?
Hello, Mashun.
I don't think so.
No, we did not.
We did not.
Hello.
And of course, you go and save the best for last.
Is it my brother?
Billy Hefner. Billy Hefner in the chat room.
My brother.
That's it. Our buddy.
Jerome. Oh my God, he's been the best all week. Billy.
Jerome Weiland's in the chat room too.
Hello, Jerome.
The co-host of WrestleView News, and we hope
that's been going really well. I have to say, I've been enjoying it.
I enjoy doing Wrestleview News a lot, and I hope everybody else is enjoying the shows so far. We've only been doing it for a week or so, but we already have 3 episodes because there's just so much damn news going on. So much damn.
You guys kind of actually started at the right time.
I know. Isn't it weird?
Really? Because you were talking about it, but then the whole thing with this was just like, whoa.
Crazy. Lewis, sweet Lou is in the chat room tonight. I'm losing my shit without the gym.
Oh, yeah, I felt so bad. I actually thought of you when I thought of him when I read his post today about losing gym time. I felt so bad because I'm like, oh, I know how like hard he's been working all like just in general, you know.
But something tells me he's just gonna like start just getting like the closet pole, just like sticking it in the wall and just start doing push-ups and pull-ups and stuff like that. So yeah, people are liking the bandana. Daniel Schell
it's not Burberry. I know. I forget who asked me last time in my post with Liliana's journey page, and somebody's like, "Oh, Burberry." I'm like, "No, it's actually not Burberry. It's from Mommy and Company. It's the headband company that Liliana and I modeled for recently." And I posted those pictures, and we were on their Instagram. And once this whole kind of virus gets under control, we'll be doing a little bit more shoots with that. But this is from there, so it's not Burberry.
Oh yeah. Vin is in the chat room.
Oh my gosh.
Gotta give him the old. Victoria's brother Vincent is in the chat room.
Why?
That's an inside joke.
He can go. He can leave.
Yes, where is Shadi Lala?
Oh, she's sleeping.
She's sleeping. Little baby sleeping. Yes, Lewis says he's already doing that with, pulling pull-ups and push-ups and just going crazy. But still, like being in the house is just like, man, like I wouldn't go out anyway, but I just like knowing that I have the shot.
Knowing that we can't is the worst right now.
Yeah, I know. It's brutal. Jerome says hello to Victoria and Gabby, his daughter.
Hi, Gabby.
Who did a great job reviewing AEW Dynamite on Wrestleview News number 3 this past Saturday. Says hello to us as well.
Good. She is like first of all, I wasn't expecting her to be on the show. I had no idea. So I was listening in the baby's room that day, and all of a sudden I'm looking at things. I'm like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, she's so good.
Yeah.
She's so good. And she's so polite and so well-mannered, too.
Yeah.
Like, just the best. Like, Jerome, good job. Good job.
She is like the baseline for where we want Liliana to be.
No, she's really, like, just good job raising her. She's a really good kid.
Good person. So, all right. I think so far we've said hello to everybody in the chat room. And now let's talk about this Raw. So, again, I really like that, and a lot of people are going to say, yes, they copied off of AEW Dynamite, because what Dynamite did was they pointed the camera at the stage rather than empty seats. Yeah. Which just, like the one thing that we were talking about last week was that as you watch these shows and, yes, and again, I still commend everybody on that crew for going in there and, essentially, like as they travel, you don't know who you're coming into contact with, what's going on. You could be exposed to this coronavirus or whatever. They're leaving the house and putting on a show for us to entertain us now. And so I'll commend them forever for that. It's the WWE crew. They're just doing what they're asked to do.
Right.
And they do a great job.
Right.
Now, where was I going? Oh, but like, as much as they're trying to put on a show to entertain us, they're also putting on a show because the company itself has contractual obligations.
Of course.
But the main point is, as Triple H said on the first SmackDown, is like, we have to entertain our main constituency, you, the fans. They're trying to put on a show because it feels normal to just watch wrestling on Friday night and Monday night and stuff like that. But when you're seeing empty seats, it just kind of beats you over the head with the fact that things aren't normal.
Yeah. So
I think kind of hiding that tonight. So they shot things a little differently. They pointed the camera at the stage. Great move. And I'm sure somebody had to have seen the AEW broadcast and said, you know what, that is the right move to do. Let's do that. And that's okay. Who cares if they copied off them? It was a good idea.
I think that's so petty if anybody did say something like that, to be honest with you.
It's petty if people are mad about it.
Yeah, it's like...
But they also blackened the rest of the arena. so that you couldn't see the seats anymore. So it was just like, you know, still, I mean, they did 2 matches in a row. They were kind of long, you know, the 2 tag matches with Andrade and Angel Garza going over Ricochet and Cedric Alexander, and then the Street Profits faced Shane Thorne and Brendan Vink, and it was just like, okay, the shooting of the matches is a lot better, but just listening to guys and ladies yelling in the ring, it just got old real quick.
I know.
You know, and Vin was texting with us tonight and said, you know, I think it'd just be a better idea if they just started piping in crowd noise. God knows they did it on SmackDown for all those years when it was a taped show.
I said that last week. I really think, I know some people would argue that it's cheesy and that it wouldn't really be good overall. Just to even have some, or even like music or something like that, maybe. Just like something in the background to kind of just distract the fact that there's nobody in the audience. Like, you don't need a whole, maybe just like some of that pipe noise along with like music playing. I don't know, just to kind of give some sort of a feel that there's just some liveliness and some people there, and you know, whatever.
I know, but there's none of that, and it's really it is missing that energy. And then they go and show us, you know, classic matches. Like, for example, tonight they showed the triple threat match from the Royal Rumble 2015, which we were there for.
Yeah.
A classic, all-time classic, in my opinion.
Great. One of the best matches I've ever seen live, honestly.
Yeah, me too. Me as well. And I've seen a lot of matches live, trust me. Brock Lesnar, John Cena, Seth Rollins at the Royal Rumble 2015. Great show, great match. But again, like, they can only go to that, well, you know, a few times before that gets old too. How many times are we going to have to, like, you know, what for like the next couple, however long this goes on, it could be a month or 2 of no people in the arena or longer, who knows? How many times are we just going to like pause Raw and just watch a really long classic match and then go back? And then they also showed Charlotte Flair versus Asuka. You know, but then we're seeing lively crowds and big stadiums and stuff like that. And then we go back to the empty Performance Center and they say, oh, well, WrestleMania is going to be here at the Performance Center. It's like, well, I just watched a WrestleMania, which was like red hot, you know, or Royal Rumble, which had a red hot crowd. It's just too much of, you know, of a dichotomy there.
But then what do you think the solution is? Because I've really been trying to wrap my head around it. And again, like I keep eating my words and changing my mind. And I don't really know which way's up and which way's down at this point, because, you know, I wouldn't say I was giving them crap last week, but the only thing I was like, oh, you know, just postpone WrestleMania, have it for SummerSlam, blah, 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 blah. And like, you know,
we don't even know if SummerSlam's going to happen right now.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, I think that it was kind of like wishful thinking on my part. And I thought, you know, because initially you were supposed to be going back to school, you know, next Monday. Now it's until further notice, and which that basically means, and again, I can't confirm that, I'm not confirming anything, but which essentially almost means that we're probably not going back this year. But it's a scary thought to not know when it's going to end. So it's like, where is the solution for this company right now? Like, it's like there's this balance of, you know, like you said, it's depressing to see a whole arena, and then it's depressing to see no crowd at all. So it's like, and especially since too, they have to kind of be careful because they can't really exceed the 50 group of people. And like you said, it's not just like, oh, they got 50 superstars and then that's fine, but they have to have their camera crew, the people to take down the set, the stage, and everything else. So they have to, exactly. So they're very, very limited in what they can do. So it's like, I don't really know what the solution is at this point. I have no idea. So for me,
yeah, I know.
For me, it's kind of like, even though it's depressing, I find it to be working a little bit more than it was last week even. I mean, maybe people will want to watch the classic matches. I have no idea. But I don't really know if people want to watch what's happening now. So it's like, I think right now it's just kind of like just as much as everybody else in this country, we're very confused as to what's actually happening, and they don't really know what to do.
Well, WWE, well, since we were on the show last, and obviously if you watch Wrestleview News, we, you know, we reported it, and also Doug does a good job on Wrestleview Weekly. They have, since our last show, they have moved WrestleMania to 2 nights, which I thought was another good move. But at the same time, I'm very curious to see, a 2-night WrestleMania and just kind of how burned out are we going to be after 2 nights of no crowds, even though they said they're going to be in multiple locations, and apparently AJ Styles and Undertaker are having a boneyard match, whatever the hell that means. But I guess they're going to be in a graveyard just having a brawl, which is a far cry from what I was expecting. I really was expecting AJ Styles to bring the Undertaker back to having good matches again, but apparently they're just doing a brawl. Like how those cards shake out is going to be very interesting. Do you put Drew McIntyre and Brock Lesnar in night 1, or in my opinion, I think if you win the Royal Rumble, you should be in the main event. And really, the main event is the last match that you see from WrestleMania. Maybe night 2 is, but by the time you get to night 2, will there be burnout from a lot of people? From night 1 and having to go through night 2 as well, because that happened at Wrestle Kingdom earlier this year in Japan. They did 2 nights in the Tokyo Dome.
However,
and night 1 was so good that night 2 had no chance of following it up, and the crowd was noticeably a lot more subdued that second night.
However, this is a very different circumstance. This is not your typical, this is not like what they're doing is right now. Oh, this is the first year they're having 2 nights of WrestleMania. That's not what they're doing. Unfortunately, this is just an idea that they had because of the circumstances that are going on right now. But I personally think, I think because of sheer curiosity, people will be watching both nights and you're going to get burned out by second night. Yeah, no doubt. I would say majority of the people, but at the same time, though, you're going to get the same equal amount of people who basically are just as curious as what happened the first night. Let's say first night was amazing. Will second night be just as amazing? Or first night was so bad, will they do better second night? So it's just all a guessing game.
Yeah, I know. It's so, well, luckily they not really luckily, but the advantage is that there is no crowd there to burn out. But the viewing audience, is going to get burned out.
Did you
And there's a lot of matches that I just have no interest in at all.
Didn't get a chance to look at the site today, but you mentioned something to me before, and I'm going to take a look at it later. They started taping.
Yes.
For WrestleMania.
Yes. So
okay.
I guess they can kind of see the writing on the wall, and this country is inching, kicking and screaming closer and closer to some, in my opinion, we're inching closer and closer to some kind of
the nationwide
national standard.
Yeah.
Maybe not a nationwide shutdown, but just rules for everybody.
Yeah.
So far it's just been, oh, well, let's just leave it up to the states. So, no one wants to be a leader, so it's okay. So New York and New Jersey will do their own thing, and Tennessee's going to do their own thing, and Oklahoma and Nevada, and there's no standards,
right? And I think
so it's Florida had no standards, and there was people on the beaches, and guess what? A couple of those kids came back from that Florida beach, and they tested positive for coronavirus. So you can just imagine how many people have that.
Yeah,
it's we need to, like Italy waited too long. I feel like we're waiting too long. We have to take some drastic moves now, obviously. So maybe WWE sees the writing on the wall. In my opinion, there has to be a reason why Vince gave up a $20 million gate.
Yeah.
He could have, if he saw numbers that he liked, he could have pushed it off till June. There's nobody in Raymond James Stadium at that time.
Is Linda McMahon still involved?
No, she's not at the company anymore.
She's not.
I'm sure she has some say.
No, talking about she's still.
No, she's not part of the Trump administration.
Okay,
anymore.
no, because
she was the secretary of small businesses.
No, I was going to say because I wasn't sure, only because maybe she had some intel that.
But I mean, just from talking to the CDC, and I know a lot of groups that talk to the CDC as well, and the projections are not pretty for the next couple months coming up. I know 2 different organizations that talk with people or representatives from the CDC.
Right.
And it does not sound promising.
No.
So Vince must have seen numbers that said to him, you're not going to be able to do WrestleMania in May or June
or even July.
Yeah. possibly.
You're lucky if you even get SummerSlam.
Right. So he must have just said, you know what? We're not canceling WrestleMania. There is going to be a WrestleMania. I've never had a year in my life where there hasn't been one. So there will be one, and this is what we're going to do.
This is what we're going to try out.
This is what we're going to do. Initially, I was like, oh well, they have a deal with the pay-per-view companies, but they've spat in the face of the pay-per-view companies for all those years. So they moved it to 2 nights.
I'm really actually.
I wonder how they're going to work that out with pay-per-view.
And me too. I almost wonder too, which really stinks about all this, is like going back to Raw. I have to say, I initially wasn't into AJ Styles Undertaker. I didn't think it would be something that I would actually want to see at WrestleMania.
It's getting good.
But it's getting good. And I really have to give credit to him tonight, AJ Styles, because he was so good with his promo tonight. And regardless of not having a crowd there and a live audience, he had so much conviction and just really was very, very into it as if there was a crowd.
Yeah.
And just the jabs that he was throwing at him and talking about his wife again and using his real name and like just all of that, it thoroughly impressed me just how great he was, despite the fact there's no crowd. Because I feel like for myself, I would be so miserable having to be there and looking at this, and I'm like, and I'm sure it's not, he finally gets his like, I want to say finally he gets big matches at WrestleMania, but what I'm saying is like, you get a match against The Undertaker, which is automatically people are interested in just because it's The Undertaker.
Yeah.
And then now you're in this position. I
know, and it kind of stinks. And a lot of people are kind of predicting that match is going to be that Undertaker's actually going to lose that match and will retire the Dead Man gimmick. Well, I'm saying you can't retire the Dead Man gimmick if you can't have that entrance one more time in front of a crowd.
No way.
Or even have a legitimate match.
Even if he thought that this was his last year. I didn't think it was last year. It was his last year anyway.
I thought 2017 should have been the last year, but he keeps going. But it's hard to turn down, a 7-figure payday to go to Saudi Arabia and do a choke slam, and I'm sure he is getting, somewhere, if not 7 figures, something very close to it.
I don't know.
But anyway, as you were saying before, the schedule, they must have seen, they must know something is coming up. I think we're getting closer to that national standard. So WrestleMania is being taped this week. The next week's Raw and the Raw after WrestleMania are being taped tomorrow at the Performance Center.
Yeah, there's got to be something going on that they know about.
But the fact that they're taping so far in advance, could they turn around and just say, okay, we're going to close out the rest of April just replaying old pay-per-views or whatever. Because I don't know how much longer they can sustain this, because it is a bear to watch.
Well, here's the thing: if it winds up being, let's just say, we're not even allowed to go state to state, right? Mm-hmm. Then this week is their opportunity to get everything in order.
Right.
And then they'll have to just play shows or the best of Raw or old matches and just put compilations together.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and maybe, just maybe, with the hopes that they do everything this week and do that month of April where it's just repeats and, whatever, then they could eventually basically like have that hype to like WrestleMania, in the sense of like, okay, now we really don't know what direction they're going in. Right. So
yeah, exactly. It's this could be, if they decide to soldier on and kind of like, make, Raw like a bastardization of what they did with NXT on Wednesday, where it was just like all video packages, that could be bad. I don't think that that's good long term for them, in terms of getting people to, once people stop watching and they fall out of the habit of like, okay, well, every Monday I watch Raw, and if they're watching Raw and it's just all video packages, and
I'm gonna take it as a different stance. I actually think I feel like you're gonna get more viewership once everything gets kind of squared away and we know what's going on, and we have a better, because people are going to want to feel that normalcy, even though they haven't been watching, and you kind of get used to it. Like even when I was on, I'm still on maternity leave, but even when I just had her, I fell back into watching it again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, even though I was so used to not watching it.
I think you're right. I think you're right. Once they announce and say, we're going to, Raw is finally returning to blah, blah, blah stadium and, we're arena and we're going to have, 18,000 people there. People are going to tune in, I think, and
tune
want
in
to
and
just
go
get
to
back
shows
to watching wrestling again.
Because I know, like,
I don't know. I think it's going to be a while before I decide to go to a show again.
I mean,
even when they start having people in.
I gotta be honest with you, I'm so grateful for the fact that we went to Elimination Chamber.
I know,
like, because that we don't know our next pay-per-view now, like true pay-per-view with an audience. So
I know.
It's like,
yeah, it's kind of weird, right? Like you, me, Vin, Billy, we're like all part of like that last audience to have seen WrestleMania. It'll be another year at least before another audience sees WrestleMania in person.
I just think about how much time has changed. Like,
could you imagine last year as we were leaving MetLife, somebody just said to us like, "Oh, hey, by the way, the next crowd that will see WrestleMania live will be in 2 years."
No.
That's like so weird to think about.
I just think
and we're the last
granted.
crowd to see a pay-per-view in person for quite some time.
Yeah, I take it for granted. I mean, everything that what's normal and we appreciate and whatever. And you know what? I'm really tired of people taking away from everybody who's like disappointed and stuff like this. I'm very disappointed that there's not going to be WrestleMania to watch on TV, even though we're not attending it. I'm very disappointed that we're not going to be able to watch it like a regular pay-per-view with no crowd and everything else, and that they have to do things this way. People are allowed to be upset, and the superstars who, even though they're in the entertainment industry, and I'm not saying, like, I very much appreciate the, people who work in the grocery store, the healthcare professionals, everybody who works in the essentials business, who still has to go to work every day. Thank you so much for what you're doing. Yeah. I mean, beyond grateful for all the things that you're doing.
Grocery stores, people,
everything,
healthcare,
everything.
Incredible job that they're doing.
Absolutely.
Retail.
But it's okay for people like, let's say I'm Drew McIntyre, I'm Rhea Ripley, I'm not getting my WrestleMania moment that I wanted in front of all those people. That's even though they're in the entertainment. Yeah.
First singles match back in 9 years.
They're allowed to be upset. And as a fan, you're allowed to be upset too. Even though, like, yes, there's more important things going on in the world, and we get that, and we want everybody to be healthy and strong and everything else, but it's okay to be upset that this is not happening. Like, It actually really upsets me because I think about last year till now, and I'm like, how much has changed?
Ooh. Huh. quite a bit. It will be fun, though, to try to... I mean, it will be fun to kind of figure out, like, what are the matches going to be for night 1 and night 2. I think that there is a great chance that night 1 could close with Edge and Randy Orton. Bless you.
Thank you. I'm not sick.
She's not sick, everybody.
I'm not sick.
I think there's a good chance that night 1 could close with Randy Orton versus Edge, because this feud is red hot. Randy Orton came out at the end of the show and cut an excellent promo. It's just been one great promo after another.
He's another one who had a great promo tonight.
This is the best. This is the most motivated Randy Orton I've seen in years. And this is the best that I've seen him. The best.
Incredible.
I think the last time I saw him this motivated, maybe 2014. This motivated.
And again, kudos to him for being this motivated with nobody to talk to.
Yeah.
Seriously. Kudos to him for having, again, that same passion as if there was a live audience, as if what he had his segment with Beth Phoenix a few weeks ago.
See, like, I kind of like the way that they did the Edge Randy Orton thing, where Edge came out and did his promo last week, then they waited a week and Orton does the response.
Yeah.
And then, you compare that to what they did with Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins tonight, where they cut a promo as if people were, the crowd was just there, and it was just like, there was no back and forth. It was just like, your turn, my turn again. And I thought Seth Rollins' promo was good, but the delivery of it was a disaster. I don't think that every single damn promo needs to be done in the ring on these empty arena shows. I just don't. It worked for Randy Orton and Edge, but Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins, I was like, God, just end this already. Pull the plug.
Vince said last night when we were talking to him, he made a really good point about how he thinks if they're going to do stuff like that, it needs, like, especially WrestleMania, should all be backstage.
Yeah.
Everything should be, like, if anyone's talking, do it backstage. Do not have it in the ring. Just leave the matches in the ring, obviously. Have any promo, any segment like that backstage.
And I think that, if there was ever a time where you can kind of just give them some, bullet points, now would be the time.
Yeah, I agree.
Now would be the time. Just let them go out there and just, with just some talking points and just cut a promo that feels more authentic than what they normally write.
It's like, why the hell not at this point?
Like, we're looking for a little, like, these are weird and strange times, if it's not the well-polished, let me look up the let me go into the source and look up a bunch of synonyms for this one easy word, and do like that whole entire. We don't need that garbage.
What do you think the writers are doing right now?
God, I hope the staff is just whittled down right now. Miserable, but it is like really like when I was listening to the Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens thing, it is really like. I know I mentioned it a few times already, probably, on a couple shows.
Yeah.
But you can really, now that there's no crowd reacting to anything, you can really hear just how bad the writing is for these promos. It's if you ever go on YouTube and look up like an episode of Friends without the laugh track, it's like the worst dialogue on earth and awful acting.
Whoa.
No, it is. Go and listen to it after the show's over, and listen to it without the laugh track.
Don't talk to my friends.
Because
don't talk about my friends.
Okay, fine. It's Seinfeld, but
all right, I can live with that.
But that's essentially like what it is right now. It's like, okay, well, we're taking out the audience and we're just leaving the bad dialogue.
No, I know, and that's why you have to appreciate shows like The Office, because they don't need a backtrack for the real laughs and everything.
I know.
No, but that's why like AJ Styles and Randy Orton were very believable. They don't need that cushion to fall back on. You know what I mean? They don't need a fallback. They when they're passionate about something, that's great. And it's so true about how the crowd really... Well, you know what it is, too? Because it's even like if they didn't like their promo, you boo it.
Right.
So it's like...
Well, especially now that they're going to be, taping 2 episodes of Raw tomorrow. If it sucks, just retape it. They're with the 2 matches that they showed the triple threat from Royal Rumble, and they showed Asuka and... Charlotte Flair from WrestleMania 34, there was probably, maybe 2 hours of television. Then you factor in the commercials. It's probably about an hour and 20. That's all the content they really need to tape. So extrapolate that out. You only have to really cover, just a little over 3 hours of stuff, including matches. You can have time to re-record a crappy promo that maybe didn't work out the first time.
Yeah.
It's just something.
No, I agree. 100%.
Just something, that's just right.
No, that's a good point. Yeah, this is your opportunity. You don't normally it's not like we're live, pal.
We're live, pal.
Well, how did that thing go again? Can we do that over?
So it was it was like Sid at an In Your House event in like 96, and I forget, I think he was like cutting a promo on Shawn Michaels or Diesel or Undertaker. I forget what it was. I knew
it was Sid, but I didn't know who was on.
He's like, you did it. And he goes, I'm sorry, man. Can we do that? And we're live, pal. You're gonna get it. It's like Sid. I just recapped WrestleMania 11, which just went up today. If you haven't seen the retro recap, I really enjoy doing these retro recaps. By the way,
I gotta be honest with you.
Sid's promo.
This has been fun to watch actually with you.
Victoria was really surprised by Sid. She's never really experienced Sid justice or Psycho Sid.
No.
Man, there was a spot in the Shawn Michaels Diesel match that I think is one of the most overlooked spots in WrestleMania history. that wrestling war was so evil. Who on earth? So at one point, Sid removes the turnbuckle pad.
Right.
He does it with a pocket knife that he was carrying. And if you know anything about the history of Sid, he stabbed Arn Anderson during a fight. So it's like, oh, let's pull the ultimate rib. Let's have Sid pull a knife out of his pants and cut the turnbuckle. Like, it did not need to happen. I was like, that is the most cold-blooded thing I've ever seen. And I think it goes completely unnoticed. And I need people to know about that. I need people to know about that.
This is why the retro recaps are a blessing.
The retro recaps are just so much fun because I'm seeing. I've seen all the WrestleManias. I'm seeing things though that I haven't seen ever because I've never watched them this closely before, and some matches that I thought were really good actually weren't good at all.
Now, how
like,
do you?
Other than like the over-rotated power bomb with Shawn Michaels and Diesel, I was like, oh, that was a good match, and then I watched it last night. I was like, this match actually sucked balls. It was awful.
Now, how do you feel as a recapper doing this WrestleMania 2 nights in a row?
I'm excited about it.
Look, is it hard for you to, even though like they're having, like I said, we watch The Office during like certain matches that they play over, but is it hard for you to recap it with no crowd?
Okay. I'm not there yet, so I really don't know. The recaps we've been doing, and Roy, you like, I know Roy's in the chat room too. Roy, you got to admit, these have been some of the easiest recaps to do ever because he does SmackDown. They pause SmackDown to show, a match as well. So it's like, we're really only recapping for, an abbreviated time.
But do you feel bored at any points?
Yeah. I felt bored during the Owens, Rollins promo. I felt bored.
But more so because there's no crowd.
Yeah, extremely because of no crowd. I felt bored during Andrade and Garza versus Ricochet and Alexander because that went on through 2 commercial breaks with no crowd. I was like, oh my! I wanted to rip my eyelashes out because it was so miserable to watch.
Yeah,
and especially knowing that, like, I don't know why they booked that match. By the way, like, Street Profits versus Andrade and Angel Garza at WrestleMania for the tag titles. It's like, when was that ever even like a thing?
We're asking the wrong person.
Aleister Black versus Bobby Lashley. They're just like adding like random matches just to get like people on the crowd on the show. It's like, oh man, and how is Rey Mysterio going to factor into WrestleMania this year? I was really hoping for that.
Oh, I wanted that fatal
four-way.
I know, it's really
not happening now. It's like, no, we need to have the Street Profits.
That's what really
Andrade
sucks about
Angel
this.
Garza.
And I sound like a broken record, but that's
Humberto
what really
Carrillo.
sucks about this, because this was like a stacked card that they were going to have for WrestleMania. Stacked. Completely stacked.
Yeah. It had potential to be really, really good. Roy said Aleister Black versus Bobby Lashley. I'd rather watch Brett versus Backlund from WrestleMania 11, and Brett versus Backlund is one of the worst WrestleMania matches I've ever seen.
I love
Horrible.
Bob Backlund.
In terms of being like a big, hyped up WrestleMania match, that was like one of the worst.
He's our friend, Bob Backlund.
Bob Backlund is our friend, yes.
He gave us great pre-marriage advice.
Yes. He gave us great advice in the lead up to our wedding, and he even offered to be there.
Yeah, he's like, I can come, and we're like, yeah, sure.
Michoud says U.S. title is not defending at Wrestleview. Yes, no, there will be no U.S. title match at WrestleMania now.
Do we know?
Yeah, because Andrade's in the tag title match.
Yeah,
unless he does double duty, but
maybe he will.
Why?
I don't know.
Yeah, and Roy also says that these are the best recaps ever. They're just so easy. They're so easy.
Well, I kind of feel better for Roy only because it's a Friday for him too.
Know,
so it's like, I mean, not that we can actually go anywhere, but still.
No, believe me, I'm happy on Monday to kind of like pause Raw for a little bit and watch like an episode or 2 of The Office and then go back to recapping. And Billy is so great about, hey, by the way, the match is over. I'm like, okay, now we got to go back and watch. Okay, fine.
Billy is the best.
Roy makes another good point here too. Gronkowski for 2 nights is terrible. I couldn't agree more. I don't know.
So wait,
boy.
I'm trying to refresh my memory because now the days and everything's just kind of like jumbling together at this point. Was he a thing before this thing?
Rob Gronkowski?
Yeah, like was he like set to do WrestleMania the whole time?
Well, they did announce that they announced it late. I think the week that we finished up school, they announced on backstage that he was in talks to be on SmackDown or to be signing with WWE as a wrestler, and that he would be in New Orleans on March 20th. Well, New Orleans obviously got bumped to Performance Center.
Right.
And when backstage, broke the story, Ryan Satin, the goof, when they broke the story, he had actually already signed, and they were really just breaking their own news, which is so weird to me. It's like so stupid. I don't understand the backstage show whatsoever. I don't get it. I really don't get it. It's awful. And so like it just came out of nowhere, and I don't know what the original plan was for Gronkowski at WrestleMania. I'm sure it was to be the host.
To be against Mojo Rawley.
Yeah, but now it's like, but all it's done is made, well, it's been good for me because now Mojo Rawley is off Raw, so Roy can enjoy the.
Sorry, Roy.
And Roy will have to recap Mojo Rawley being taken seriously because he brought in his buddy Rob Gronkowski to WWE. Enjoy that, Roy. I'm sorry.
Sorry,
I gift you Mojo Rawley. I want nothing in return, please. Good Lord. Like, I can't stand Mojo Rawley. And I wonder, though, like, when I watched Rob on SmackDown, and I get it, he's very nubile to the wrestling community. And, the only thing he's ever done was at WrestleMania 33, which we were at, the Andre Battle Royal. When he came out doing that dance, and then he humped the ring post, I was like, Vince must be like, it's such good shit.
Oh my God.
It was so weird.
That picture that you did. I don't know.
Roy, I will take 3 hours of Raw over having to recap one Mojo Rawley match where he's taken seriously. Enjoy. It's such good shit.
Oh man.
Well, it's all, obviously going to be leading up to, if SummerSlam happens in Boston. Please. In Boston, Gronkowski will obviously have his debut match there. Probably a tag match at SummerSlam because it's going to be in the New England area. So
please, SummerSlam.
That's the big thing. I hope we have a SummerSlam. I really do.
I do too.
Either way, we're still going to be going to the beach and enjoying summer. I do not care. Okay, Roy's got me. He got me. 2 hours of SmackDown and no Charlie Caruso is better. Yes, I will give you that. Yes, Charlie Caruso.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, Mojo Rawley is very, very bad. He is very bad.
He's very bad.
Like him and Rob Gronkowski, I think, are at the same level. I don't think
they equate to each other. I really don't. I think I would tolerate Charlie Caruso because she goes away within like 5 seconds.
Yeah, Rob's gonna be out there for a while.
Mojo Rawley and Gronkowski, you're looking at pretty long segments. Now, if you're looking at a promo, if you're looking at a segment with Charlie Caruso and she's doing an interview with the two of them, then you're really screwed.
I'll just turn off the TV. I don't care if it's in the middle of SummerSlam. I will just stop the recap. Somebody else will just, after I'm not even going to tell anybody. I'm just going to stop. Somebody will have to realize and pick up the recap after that. I won't survive. Mojo Rawley, Rob Gronkowski, and Charlie Caruso in one interview. No, thank you. Anyway, what else is there to talk about on this show?
So we talked about AJ Styles. We talked about Randy Orton. We talked about the matches.
The Paul Heyman promo was good, but it's like, we've heard it before, and they showed a video before it. They were showing it like it was brand new. They showed it literally 2 weeks ago. So
yeah, that really is it, right? The matches.
Yeah. Paul Heyman loves to use the word bitch. That's like his edgy word.
Maybe that's why all the women use it.
Oh yeah, well yeah, it's like the one word that they can say where it's like, hey, it gets by the censors. Yeah, I don't know.
You should just ask me questions now.
Ask you questions?
Yeah, just why not? Just because.
Okay. What? Of all the WrestleManias that I've made you watch so far, WrestleMania 1...
Made me watch?
Well, I mean, that you've watched.
Oh, with the retro WrestleManias.
The retro WrestleManias.
Oh, I thought you meant
1 through 11, so far, what has been your favorite match that you've seen so far?
Oh, ooh.
You wanted a question.
Oh, wait a minute. Who was that? Who faced Hulk Hogan? No. It wasn't Hulk Hogan. He came out at the end and won the title.
Brett versus Yokozuna? Are you kidding me?
No, you're not understanding. The reason why I'm not saying that's my favorite match, I'm not saying that. I just enjoyed that moment because it was like Hulk and just like, it's just so Hulk Hogan that he just comes in and he just can't he's got to control everything.
Okay. I think you probably, well, I know you got a kick because even though, I mean, I've seen WrestleMania 9 plenty of times, I still get mad when Hulk Hogan comes out. It's been almost 20 years since that show happened. I'm like, why the fuck is Hulk Hogan coming out right now? I can't stand that guy. No.
So that was one of my favorite things that I've watched. I don't know everything enough to like actually tell you my favorite. I just enjoy them overall.
Well, I'm trying to think of something that you did enjoy.
There's a lot I've enjoyed.
Hogan versus Warrior. You were like, that's pretty good.
No, I was not.
I thought it was
I think you thought it was. I don't like Warrior, and
you like Bret Hart versus Roddy Piper though.
That I enjoyed.
Flair versus Savage was another one.
There you go.
Enjoyed.
I did not like Warrior because I do not like Warrior. I just don't like him as a person, so I refuse to. Bleh.
I know.
He was sorry. Rest in peace, but he's not a good guy.
Rest in peace, but if you're a jerk in life, you're a jerk in life. That's how it is.
And his wife's so creepy.
Oh
like
my
Dana
God,
Warriors.
She's so weird. That's like the only thing that's like really good about this, shutting down wrestling. It's like I don't have to hear Dana Warrior say some weird speech this year. It's like, Lord. It's pretty cold-blooded, actually. but it is like this warrior like mentality to me.
Their children are nice kids.
I'm sure they are. I'm sure they're great kids. I'd love to hear what they think. I'd love to hear what they think about gay marriage, though. Because Warrior was not a fan.
True, and that's another reason why I can't say I respect that man. So,
but
love is love.
That warrior mentality is like. It was just a gimmick, and then he turned it into like a wannabe cult. And I don't know who these like Warrior fans are. I haven't seen them, but apparently they're there because he talked to them all the time.
Well, I got a little mad at the Miz because he's like, "Oh, I used to run around with the Warrior like things on my wrists." I'm like, "No, you didn't."
Yeah, I'm sure there were a lot of Warrior, like the little Ultimate Warriors running around there, like when he was there, but his run was so short that it's not like it didn't have like the lasting impact. But that's like Bailey saying like, "Oh, Fabulous Moolah was my favorite growing up." It's like, shut up. No, you never saw. The only thing you know about Fabulous Moolah is that her and Mae Young were just like the creepy old ladies getting beaten up and powerbombed by the Dudley Boys every week. That's all you know. Let's not lie. Shut up.
Let's not lie. Let's not go around and lie.
I hate that stuff. I hate it. Nafis says, any thoughts on Dark Side of the Ring's Benoit episode? And Nafis just mentioned the Bailey thing. I didn't even see that he put that growing up watching Moolah. Did I not go off on that?
Oh my gosh, you went crazy. You go, bullshit. There's no fucking way.
I was shouting at the TV because it was so.
We were in the babies, like when it was not the babies room. It was the old guest room and TV room, and
I like that there's a baby in their bed on the TV. But
oh, me too. But yeah,
and that TV did move into our bedroom, so I'm even happier now. It's
okay, that's really like that information was not necessary.
Why? We have a TV in our bedroom. Big deal. Like,
no, it's just the way that like the story. There was just no.
No, because I get to now watch it while I'm going.
But
to
there's
bed.
No correlation to what.
I'm just happy that that we have a baby and we have a better TV in our room now.
Okay, whatever.
What? Nothing wrong with that. God, you're so suspicious. I have not seen the Dark Side of the Ring Benoit episode yet. It's like when you live through that, I don't know if I need to rewatch it. Like I don't know if I need to know any more about it than I already know, and I know a lot about it, and it's too dark for me to go back to. It's too sad. Benoit was for me, like, when you think about wanting to be, when I was a kid, I was like, oh, I want to be a professional wrestler when I grow up and this and that. It's just, never shook out. I did attend wrestling school class, and I was going to be a referee, but even that, I was just like, you know what? It's not worth, me paying, $500 to be a ref and not make anything and, take down rings and stuff like that.
What the hell?
What?
You could have been going to shows.
Well, yeah, IWF.
You're a jerk.
I'm sorry. I didn't even, but I didn't have the money either, and they wanted me to like work out, and I was like, I don't feel like it. So, and they were like, oh yeah, it's gonna be like 8 months for we'll allow you to ref. It's like, what, really? It's like it's not that hard to referee. Like they pulled Adam Martin out of the crowd one day and had him referee a match. Like, come on, please, like, like. That was when Adam wasn't, like the fit boy that he is now as well. So that, I could have done it, but they just wanted to just take my money. That's what they were looking to do.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Boo-hoo.
Anyway, I don't know where I was going with this. So I grew up like idolizing Benoit. I was like, well, Benoit's a small guy, but then I, like when you're, a teenager and you're looking at this stuff, you're like, you don't realize just the amount of steroids that go into that body. I don't think I could handle that, and it obviously ruined his life. It's too hard for me to go back and look at that because I admired Benoit so much, and when it happened, it was just it's like a member of your family doing that.
Okay,
because you look up to them.
I don't want
so
to talk
much
about it anymore, please.
Yeah, but that's how it is.
I know. It makes me sick to my stomach. I'm just getting
and it's like I felt the
now.
same way when Eddie Guerrero died. It's like. I don't need to go back and relive that. Like, probably like the one thing, like I'm watching all the Raws, from start to, probably up until the end of like, the Attitude Era. Like I'm still in 1996. It's taken me a long time to like work my way through that. But I can guarantee you, like the one episode that I'm probably just going to skip is Raw is Owen. I don't know if I can watch the Owen Hart Raw again. Because it was just so sad, that Owen was dead and not there anymore. It's even hard for me now, like, to watch a WrestleMania with, Owen doing his thing. Like, I love the Owen Brett match from WrestleMania 10. I absolutely love that match. It's one of my favorite all-time matches. And I still wish somebody would have told Owen, hey, dude, you got some spit on the corner of your mouth, because it was there for after the match. And when he cut his promo after the match as well, it's like no one, like Todd Pettengill could have been like, hey, dude, just before the camera gets on you. But it's hard for me to watch still. And that's been 21 years almost. Like I don't need to relive these things. Anyway, that was a tangent about I probably didn't need to go on.
And I listened to it, by the way.
Listen to what?
I listened to your tangent.
Yes, thank you. I don't know what that means.
It means that I listen to you when you speak.
What does that mean?
You don't listen to me when I speak.
I listen to you when you speak. I listen to I didn't even get caught not listening tonight. So there. I didn't get caught not listening.
Maybe on the podcast, but not the entire day.
Well, throughout the entire day, yes, there are periods, because I'm working from home. If you're talking to me, I didn't hear exactly everything that you said. What? You can't hold that against me. Leave me alone. You know what? I think it's time to bring this puppy in for a landing. This Raw had like 6.5 minutes of actual news on it.
Only us. So can we make a 45-minute show?
That's 54 actually we're at right now. So it's time to bring this puppy in for a landing here. But anyway, so let us call it a day. I will be back on Saturday at some time. Me and Jerome, the only thing me and Jerome have to do is just lock down a time when Wrestleview News is going to premiere every Saturday. We don't do it live. We tape it and then we premiere it. So if you're in the thing, I love seeing people having conversations in the news, but we're not actually doing it live. So, I can jump in there and have conversations with people too, which is fun. So Wrestleview News. What did I say? Did I say Wrestleview Live?
I don't know what you said.
Oh, so you weren't listening.
How do you feel?
I don't care. Wrestleview News on Saturday. Wrestleview Weekly on Sunday, and we'll be back for Wrestleview Post Raw number 76, the final Raw before WrestleMania 36 on this coming Monday.
My birthday's going to suck this year.
No, it's not. It's going to be fine. Your birthday will be fine.
No, it won't.
We'll survive.
I'm turning 30.
I know, and you look great. So there's that.
Thanks.
That is really good. All right, everybody. I'm Mike Tedesco, the editor-in-chief of Wrestleview.com.
I'm Victoria Tedesco.
Have a good night.
Liliana Tedesco's mother.
Yes, yeah, exactly. The editor-in-chief of Liliana. Have a good one, everybody. Take care. I didn't play the thing. I pressed the wrong button. Let's try that again. This is so stupid. Good night.
Good night.